All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Community Preservation Committee regular meeting. It is Thursday, August 15th, 2024. We are live at primetime, 1059 Somerset Ave, Dayton, Mass, and also available via Zoom. This meeting is being recorded and can be viewed at a later date on the Town of Dayton YouTube channel. I'll call the meeting to order at 5:35. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Start off with committee member introductions. I'm Kevin Smith, Chairman and Parks and Rec Representative.
Jonathan Gale, ADA Coordinator.
Paul Reynolds, Conservation Commission Representative.
Adele College, Housing Authority.
Dan Higgins, Planning Board Representative.
Thank you all. The next thing we have is to review, discuss, and act to approve the prior meeting minutes, excuse me. I believe those dates were May. Elizabeth, do you have those two dates or no? Let me close this one. So it was May 16th and July 18th, if everybody had a chance to review those.
So
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't here for July 18.
It doesn't make sense.
I say that because if you need quorum to approve.
Nope, no, you don't, not for meeting minutes.
Okay.
We'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 5/16 and 7/18/2024.
So, sorry.
We have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded, any discussion on the minutes? Just let.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's okay, the weather was tough. So we have we just have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the prior meeting minutes from May and
I
July.
did read the move, yeah.
Any comment?
No.
All right, so all those in favor, because we have Dan on Zoom, we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay,
Jonathan, what's?
Yeah, Jonathan Gale, aye.
Brian Cedrone, aye.
Paul Reynolds, aye.
Adele College, aye.
Dan Higgins, aye.
Kevin Smith is an aye. Thank you. Financial reports, I know Dave Eckerson is supposed to be on his way. As far as I know, there shouldn't be anything significant in the report. We haven't had any transactions or anything that has changed since our last meeting. But we can always let him kind of interject once he arrives. But for now, we'll just move on to old business. So the first thing we have was to review, discuss, and act CPC project updates. I don't have anything to update anyone on. I don't think anybody else had any other projects. The last project was completed for housing, and Pat couldn't be with us tonight, so I'm not sure where she's at with the latest historical commission survey. I know that they were waiting for an approval from the Board of Selectmen, because they had the updated pricing, but as far as I know. So next under old business, we have review, discuss, and act the CPC project signage. Did everybody get that, those proofs?
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts?
I thought they were both beautiful done, if I had a favorite.
Well, so that we had the two things, so two different purposes. So the yard sign was gonna be for we'll use the library as an example, while the library is under construction, we can post that yard sign. And then
The white,
the blue and
yes, yeah.
the blue and the white with the town seal. And then once that project is completed, then they would get the plaque, which would get permanently posted, but at least, cause even I think of like when the Trails Committee starts their work, we can post one down by the, west entrance on Broad Cove. just kind of universal, we can pick them up and move them around a little bit easier than our old sign, I think that's how we kind of came up with that.
Platinum was really impressive. Both of them.
Oh, so, probably we'll talk, Dan, any comment on design or anything like that?
No, they look fine to me.
Okay, I think the only other thing that I didn't do right away, when I was putting those together, is something, I would almost think, kind of use that same color scheme as the yard signs. But do something smaller for like, I think of like the North Dayton Playground to have that same, so obviously we're not gonna do a wooden plaque outdoors, it's just gonna rot, so if we could do something, I'll look into, for our next meeting, I'll look into like a metal version of that yard sign, something small like, 12 by 18 or something of that nature, I'll look into that for our next meeting, so we have something for outdoor projects. It's the same thing with Broad Cove, the trail, like if and when that gets done, it'd be nice to have that at the entrances showing, where some of the funding came from. So, just,
It's a good way to attract more attention to Broad Cove too.
yes.
It's one of my favorite places in the whole town.
So on the yard sign, those were 24 wide by 18 tall, which is kind of typical of like your political yard sign or business advertising yard signs. Those were $56.99 for a 6-pack. It went up, if you wanted to do a 10-pack, it was $82.99. And then there is a shipping charge. So I wasn't logged into the town's Prime account when I did the proofs. So that shipping cost should go away, but I'm not 100% sure. So I think, typically when I do something like this for Parks and Rec, what I like to do is like a not to exceed, just in case you hit that little, like even if it's half of that, if it's $6 to ship it, I don't wanna be like, oh, well, I can't buy this because we approved $56.99.
You still pay shipping, you don't pay sales tax.
Some things ship for free though. I've had a couple things, yeah, like, so if you don't try to do like the Prime, like the 2-day shipping, like if you do normal shipping, some of it does ship for free, but not
Just
always.
put not to exceed $100. Just don't take any chances. You might wanna
You can do
do
that.
10
Well, I guess that's my other question for everybody is like, do we wanna just do 6? Do we wanna do 10? And, they're not gonna go bad, the language, there's no date on them, the language isn't gonna change, it's been the language that CPC has used.
What are we gonna be able to do so that, because I assume there's so lightweight and so forth, so that they don't blow away or somebody doesn't just pick it up and throw it in the trash?
We're gonna have you stand guard and hold it in place until the project's
It
completed.
sounds silly, but I can see places, where kids will defame it or somebody will trash it or just, just rip it in half kind of thing.
I don't know what you can do about
Yeah, that's
that.
kind of the risk you take,
It is.
All the
So
more reason to get 10.
I was just gonna say that's why I was asking, I think we should potentially consider the 10.
Right, 10.
The only thing that I could say that could kind of increase the resilience of them a little bit is the wire frames that you put in the ground. If you cut those in half so that they sit lower to the ground,
Right,
it's
it's
not
not so-
susceptible to the wind.
Yeah.
Right, that's really the only thing I can think of though. But no, I concur, I think 10 would probably be a good number to have, because there is gonna be some attrition over time, it's just inevitable.
Yeah, so even if we went with the 10-pack, which was $82.99, and then if worst case scenario, if it was the $14 in shipping, that would put us at 97. So we can break this up into 2 parts too, that way, because like, I think the yard signs are definite, there's a little more conversation to be had around the plaque, so. If someone wants to make a motion around the yard signs,
I propose a motion to purchase 10 yard signs at a cost inclusive of signs plus delivery not to exceed $105.
do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jonathan, aye.
Rand Cedrone, aye.
Dave Eckerson, aye.
Paul Reynolds, aye.
Adele Colin,
Dan Higgins, aye.
Kevin Smith is an aye. So on the plaques too, I don't know if, let me pull up that cost, I thought those were relatively inexpensive as well.
Do you know the approximate dimensions of the plaque?
I think it shows it in that cost, let me see. Doesn't show. I believe I selected 11 by 14,
Nice.
so it's not, tiny, but it's also not huge.
Happy medium.
Yeah, so the plaques themselves were $23 plus, possibly $6 in shipping. I just don't know. Again, they're not gonna go bad, especially these, and the language isn't gonna change. So I don't know if we wanted to do something like purchase 5 of them just to have on hand. I know like the library is quite a ways out. But I think, we have, in our professional and technical line items, we have more than enough funding to cover things like this, so it's like, I don't know if it just makes sense to order, 5 or 6 or whatever everybody thinks and hold on to them. And then, just kind of disperse them as these, and then, we can order more as we need
Can
them.
they be mounted, Kevin?
Yeah, so it's just like, there's the slots in the back, so like you put 2 screws in the wall and it would hang. It's a hanging plaque.
No, strictly indoor.
Yeah, these ones are indoors, actually, just before you walked in, we talked about too, for our next meeting, I'm gonna explore like, a smaller metal version of the yard signs for outdoor projects, like, the trails, the playground, things like that, so we have something posted there. But, yeah, I mean, if anybody has any thoughts on having a certain number, just to,
Yeah, I think 6 makes sense. You said they're $23 a piece?
yeah. So, yeah, so I'm just trying to think of what type of projects we have, with that they would, like, it would probably, like, at Lincoln Village somewhere, like, in the community room. Would be a spot, the library once it's completed, Winslow Davis Museum. Oh, so there's 3 right off of the bat that we're gonna take out of our 6.
6 really isn't that much because they're gonna live for years, they could be sitting for a long time, nothing's gonna change.
Yeah.
We've got them.
So I would make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we purchase 6 of the indoor plaques for a cost not to exceed $200.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, roll.
Oh, we have.
Oh, discussion, sorry.
No, cause there are $23 a piece.
Yeah.
So if we were to buy 6, that's what, $198? So should we do?
Well, he's thinking if it's roughly $6 for shipping for each, that's $180. Because it's 23 plus 6.
144.
23 plus 6 is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Call it $30 each roughly,
Yeah.
times 6,
Yeah.
180.
Yep.
Be 144 for the plaques themselves.
Gotcha.
And I think that, a lot of times too, that shipping wouldn't be per item, it should be a
Yeah.
bulk.
Gotcha.
It might fluctuate a little
Gotcha.
bit.
I'm gonna blame the $300.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and the weather. What was that total again, Beth?
$200 not to exceed.
Okay, just so we
And
know.
these same plaques next year will be even more money, so.
Right,
Right.
but it's kind of endless, we can get them as we need them. Any comment or anything on that, Dan?
No, $200 sounds enough for me.
Okay. Alright, so now we'll roll call vote.
Jonathan Gale, aye.
Dave Nickerson, aye.
Brian Cedrone, aye.
Paul Reynolds, aye.
Tom Collin, aye.
Dan Higgins, aye.
Kevin Smith is an aye. Yeah, and then just on that note, I'll come up with something for outdoor projects for our next meeting, but I'll get that stuff ordered so we have them in the meantime. Before we just continue on a little bit, Dave, did you have anything on the financial reports? I felt like we were pretty level from where we were last time. Nothing really to,
Start up again in the fall.
yeah, November, once we see matching funds and things like that, we'll go on. Alright, so next we have review, discuss and act the application of eligibility for the Dayton Housing Authority project that was, we took under advisement last month. I don't have an update, I did send an email out to Robbie D'Souza, the director, and I haven't heard it, and I did request, more information, inspection reports or any documentation around the condition of the building, specifically the windows. But I haven't heard anything back yet. Have you talked to her at all about
No, we usually have a meeting with her Tuesday, but now it's at the end of the month,
that? Okay,
but I'll talk to her then.
all right. Yeah, and I do have an email out to her, so I don't know if you catch her in passing or anything. If you could just let her know if she has that, that way we can kind of move that along for her.
Yeah.
Come to a final determination on that. So next, under new business, we have review, discuss and act the Community Preservation Coalition annual dues. This year is $875, which is the same as it was last year. It didn't go up. The year before, I think it was 800 and then it went up, but it stayed level to last year. Those funds support all the work they do to run their website and staff. Have their staff come out and do trainings and all those things that have been supportive of us. It's something that I think we've always contributed to, so in my opinion, it would be great if we continue to do so. But-
Yeah, I think especially is in previous months where we've begun to discuss the idea of an affordable housing trust. And I think that the more resources that we have access to learn how to, navigate that going forward, I think that would be good.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've been absolutely invaluable in getting us all to kind of where we are with the knowledge that we do have around CPA, so.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that we approve $875 towards the cost of the coalition.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Jonathan Gale, aye.
Dave Eckers, aye.
Brian Cedrone, aye.
Paul Reynolds, aye.
And John Collin,
Dan Higgins, aye.
Kevin Smith is an aye. Does anybody else have any other new business? The only thing that I'll bring up, under new business that it may or may not come up, as a future project from Parks and Rec. We are meeting next Tuesday. It's the first time we've met in a little bit. But one thing that we're gonna be discussing on Tuesday is, the possibility of dedicating the South Dayton Playground, School Lane and Palmer Street, in memory of longtime Parks and Rec Commissioner and CPC member Timothy Rhines. That's something that we're gonna discuss, but as part of that too, we're also gonna discuss, some level of revitalization of that playground. Because in my opinion, it'd be terrible to name a park after somebody that needs so much work. But we do have, there's a couple different funding sources that we're gonna look towards to make that happen. But there's a possibility that I have something coming down the pipeline from Parks and Rec for that. I'm gonna try to keep it simple, and it's not gonna be North Dayton Playground, it's not gonna be a huge project, but there may be some ask there from myself and my fellow Parks Commissioners, so.
that'd be nice.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Anybody else have any other new business? I don't have anybody from the public, so I don't think there's any public input. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Night.
Have a good night.
No.
That was easy.
Yeah,
Easy, yeah. Wow, that would have been wild.
I know.